Diktu Kumasur Tamikra, Parashat Vayigash 1. The references to Perek Memdalet, Pasuk Kafbet, then the Pasuk, very famous discussion, Vanomen el Adoni lo yochal hana'ar la'azov et aviv, ve'azav et aviv v'amet. Yehuda tells Yosef, we spoke to our master, and lo yochal hana'ar la'azov et aviv. He can't leave his father, ve'azav et aviv v'amet, because maybe he will die. The question is, ve'azav et aviv v'amet, who will die? Either Binyamin or Yaakov, the father. There's a debate about that. So Rashi, first of all, I want to point out the function of the vav, ve'azav et aviv. Rashi points this out. Im ya'azov et aviv doagin anu shema yamut baderech shehare imo meta baderech. Im ya'azov et aviv. If he will leave, then he might die. Let's assume it's Binyamin, baderech, according to Rashi. What it really is he's giving the vav is what's called noten tam. She'im yavi. Rashi says im, but it really is l'uchal hana'ar la'azov et aviv. She'im ya'azov et aviv. If he will leave his father, then he will die. He may die, but derech. So the vav is what's called the vav noten tam. I want to really point out the question about Ibn Ezra's interpretation here about the whole thing. The question is, who is the reference vamet? Who does it refer to? Does it refer to Binyamin or it refers to Yaakov Avinu? And so Ibn Ezra writes the following interesting point. He says, "Velama lo," at this particular point, he says, "Velama lo havi hamaskira hamisha shehem lahem lachleya kemo vayishlof na'alo," which is written in Ruth Dalid Pasuk Chet v'zer mahem. He said this should be included with the 5. What are we talking about? Ibn Ezra is referring to Gemara Yoma Daf Nun Bet Amud Aleph, followed also the end of Amud Aleph, beginning of Amud Bet. There, Isi ben Yehuda says the following: Hamisha, Isi ben Yehuda Omer, Hamesh Mikraot Batorah, En Lahem Hechreya. There are 5 Pesukim in the Torah where you don't know exactly what the Hechreya, where the word is supposed to be decided, whether it's in the beginning or the end, according to Rashi. And he brings them down just with one word: Se'et, Meshukadim, Mahar, Arur, Vekam. Those are the words in the 5 Pesukim that actually can go either way, according to Rashi. And let's explain the whole comment of Isi ben Yehuda according to Rashi. Rashi says that En Hechreya means you don't know Ladat Hechan Hen Notin. You don't know whether the word goes with the beginning of the sentence or with the end of the sentence. And Rashi there goes through all 5 to explain the safek, to explain the question as to whether the word goes with the first part of the sentence or the second part. And in fact, here, Yosef ben Yehuda, he's not even referring to the ta'amim. There's a whole discussion there that is independent of the ta'amim. In other words, even if you say the Baalei HaMasoret put it at Nachta, for example, or Zakef Katon, that would not stop what the Gemara is saying over here. According to the Gemara, he's a Tana. He says, you could read that word either way. And the Baalei HaMasoret have decided a certain way, but he says you could read it either way. I'll give you one example that Rashi brings. Mahar, in Amalek, at the end of Vishalach, it says, Sei lahem ba'amalek mahar. So the word mahar, afterwards, you could read it beginning or the second part of the pasuk. So Rashi writes mahar, Veseh lahem ba'amalek mahar. Maybe it means he's telling Yeshua, tomorrow go out and fight Amalek, or maybe Tzehi lahem ba'amalek miyad. Go out and fight with them right away. Umahar anochi nitzav al rosh ha'even sham. He says there, and then he says, and then tomorrow I will go out and pray. V'hayom he says, today you don't need my tefillah. Tomorrow you might. So tomorrow I'll pray. Mahar anochi nitzav. He says, tomorrow I will stand and pray for you. So the word mahar can go either with the beginning of the sentence or the second half of the sentence. Same thing with the other four. Ben Ezra says something different though, and this is what's questionable here. He says, V'azav et aviv vamet. You don't know if vamet is talking about Yaakov or Binyamin. He said that should be included with these five that Ishi ben Yehuda mentioned in this Gemara Yuma, Masechet Yuma, She'en lahem echreya. And he brings another one where he says very similar problem. Vayishlof na'alo, when Boaz met with it turns out the brother of his father, and he said, "Okay, let's make a deal." So Vayishlof na'alo, he takes off his boot in order to make to sign to seal the supposedly the exchange. It's not yibum. It's the sign of a sale or a decision that was made. So it says Vayishlof na'alo. The question is, who took off the boot? Was it Boaz or his uncle, the other one who was there when he spoke with him? So we don't know. So in the same way, he says this pasuk, this one here, it could be that in other words, there would have been Boaz or the Goel, and here the same thing could be Yaakov or Binyamin. It's a similar idea in terms of the understanding as to who it's referring to. Now, this is different from the way Rashi explains the Gemara. Rashi explains the Gemara as the word itself can either go to the beginning of the sentence or with the second half of the sentence and change the meaning, obviously. But according to the Ben Ezra, he's saying we ought to add these other two where the understanding as well was not clear. So it would have been here, V'azav et aviv vamet. Who does it refer to, Vamet or Yaakov or Binyamin? And then Vayishlof na'alo, does it refer to Boaz or the Goel? Now that's different from the way Rashi explains the Gemara. This is something, tzarich ayun, we have to try to understand how come the Ben Ezra explains that he must refer to the Gemara somehow differently, because these two are a question of muvan. There's a question of understanding what that word refers to whom that word refers to, whether it's Boaz or the Goel or Yaakov or Binyamin, not the placement of the word. The placement of the word is clear. Vayishlof na'alo, vamet, it's clear. You can't move it any other place. The question then is, with the others, the other five, according to the explanation of Rashi and the Gemara, it refers to the word itself, whether it goes with the beginning of the sentence or the second half of the sentence. Different. So this is where I'm saying, Ibn Ezra tzarich ayun. You have to really start thinking about it and say, why did he include these two, which according to Rashi, is clear they're not the same.